Amen. Well, good morning. Good morning. Morning time recording going on today, yeah?
Yes, good morning.
Labor Day, long Labor Day weekend for all of us. So here we are on a Monday, getting ready to go. Jim came dressed for the occasion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I call this my Good News Network attire.
Okay, well, welcome to Potholes and Street Corners. I am Mike, and that is the Gooch. We decided we're going to do a name for me. What did we decide?
Yeah, well, you like Smitty.
I mean, I guess it works. So, welcome to the show. Today should be, fairly interesting. Try to be funny. Thank you guys so far for all the support on TikTok and the social medias.
Yes.
Don't forget to find us at Potholes and Street Corners on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, basically anywhere there's internet, we're there. And like, share, support, comment. We're going to be a show based on our viewers, and we want to hear your comments, concerns, questions. If you want Jimmy to say some funny words, we're in for that too. So,
Funny words.
yeah,
Like what?
like funny like a clown.
Be careful, that's copyrighted.
Yeah, funny words. Some kind of funny words.
All right.
Like what was the one you said we did the video on? You've used it several times as Ming. I think that's a funny word. I just don't know why. I think there's something very unique about it.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Italians, we like to improvise on a lot of things. You know, like, here's an example.
Okay.
Two guys walking down the street that are not Italian. They're friends. They bump into each other. Hi, how are you? Great to see you. How's your family? Oh, family's doing well. We should catch up. Yeah, we should. Have a good day. Two Italian guys walking down the street. Hey, how you doing? Hey, we're doing good. Hey, family good? Yeah, solid. Talk to you. Short and sweet.
Okay. I mean, I've never experienced something like the most I know about Italian culture is what I see from the movies. Like, a matter of fact, I just watched Donnie Brasco again for the first time in a while.
Oh, yeah.
So what a great movie.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp just absolutely kills it in that role. I do wish now, knowing more about the real Donnie Brasco guy, having seen him on a podcast, I wish they would have went a little more in depth. Like, I know it's only a movie, but I mean, maybe do a TV show on this guy or something like that, because that was like 8 years of his life was undercover.
Here's the problem with that.
What?
There is still a $500,000
Yeah.
bounty for this guy. And something else you may or may not know. Hollywood had to put their flair into that movie.
I do, yeah.
King's Court, when they're in Florida,
Yeah.
they show it in Miami.
It's not Miami.
It's 10 minutes down the road from where we are right now.
It's a place called Holiday, Florida.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I had an uncle who happened to visit that establishment.
Yeah,
Yeah, because, there was gambling, there were women, I mean, whatever the case may be. I mean, it was in probably the mid-'70s, just before I moved here the first time.
yeah.
But this whole area, the bingo, everything was corrupt.
So that depiction in the film where you have the cops busting up the gambling there, that was good old Pasco County? You think that was Pinellas?
No, that was Pasco.
It was, huh? Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It was definitely Pasco. It was definitely a setup from Sunny Red from up north.
I guess what they portray in the movie, yeah, for sure.
Because they didn't want them expanding.
Yeah.
Down here was Trafficante. And I don't know.
There's one of those funny words again.
Well, that was somebody's last name.
Okay.
Now, I don't say this because I knew anybody like that. Let's be clear. I'm going by from what I've read and what I've seen like everybody else.
Yeah.
But Trafficante owned Florida. He left New York, came down here. He saw opportunity. And with the opportunity, that's what led to a lot of activity, so to speak.
Well, it was primarily like gambling and stuff like that for a while, right? It was mostly gambling, dog races, because they show in the movie they're at the Greyhound track over there in Tampa.
Yeah, there was, look, a lot of gambling. Look, when there's gambling, there's women.
Yeah.
Those are the two things that, look, any kind of organized crime, I don't care if you're Italian, Russian, whatever, gambling and women are always going to make you money, without a doubt. It's when you start bringing in other elements, then things get a little crazy.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and especially then from the late 70s, turning into the 80s, there was a lot of illicit drugs going on. They saw that as the next big opportunity, yeah?
Absolutely. And that's why the mob used to have a standing rule. No drugs. Because they knew the government, if they bust you with drugs, you're going away for a long time. It's not like you're doing a 5 to a 10-year stint. You're going to do 20 to 30 years probably. And nobody wanted part of that. And unfortunately, money, greed comes with it. You lose your soul.
Yeah, that's crazy. And it's so crazy that, like you said in the movie, they portray it as being in Miami and places like that, but that was here in the Tampa Bay area. And I know when I was listening to, it was Joe Rogan, shout out Joe, godfather of us all. He was on, what's the guy's real name? Do you know? I can't remember.
Oh, God, I used to.
Yeah.
Because the guy, when I worked for Scott Financial,
Yeah.
the guy who ran the security was in the FBI.
Okay. Well,
Joe Pistone.
Okay, yeah. So Joe was on Joe many months ago, and he was talking about how, like you just said, they embellished a lot of, like, he never hit his wife, he was never abusive or anything like that. I don't believe his wife lived anywhere near them. I think he lived in California when he was over on the East Coast. But seeing all the things happen. And the way he talks about him is that, he even said on Joe, he goes, well, they say it's here and they say it's there, but it's in this small little county, and he doesn't mention what it is. But there was a lot going on here in good old Pasco County for the time. And back then, this area was still developing. So, to have them in here, see an opportunity, and then, it could have gone a lot of different ways, I guess, if they hadn't busted them up, if Sonny Red hadn't ratted them out.
That's on that one particular thing. You got to remember, too, with the mob,
it's always something else.
Yeah, there's a lot of different businesses going on. So they got busted here, but that don't mean they got busted in 14 other things that they were doing. And you got to remember, too, you got Tarpon Springs right down the road.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of money being thrown around in Tarpon Springs. I mean, that's old school. Yeah. Tarpon is the largest Greek community in the United States, and I believe the second is Astoria, Queens.
Okay.
So these communities where these immigrants came, these people take care of themselves.
Yeah.
And that's what the government never understood.
Right. Absolutely. I think it's crazy. There are so many. I think somebody, again, not growing up in New York like you did, but obviously having ties there with you, and then with, my father being from there and stuff like that. I've never been to New York, never been to the city, never bothered to take the trip there, which we should probably totally do, just to go for the food. But, romanticize is not the right word, but you think of, like, man, these, you see all these movies about these, you see Goodfellas, and you watch like Godfather, which is just still one of the top 10 movies of all time. And you see all these things that happen there, and it felt like everybody at the time had something to do with it if you were on the streets whatsoever. Would you say that's accurate?
People like to talk. Mm-hmm. And the people that talk normally don't know anything. Because if they truly knew somebody like that, they would never open up their mouth. Like me, I joke about it because I'm from New York and I'm Italian. But I know nobody.
Right.
Okay? Did I see things growing up? Absolutely. I mean, here, check this out. I used to coach the little kids in football. Doopy's Field in Whitestone, for some reason, there was always bodies found there. No exaggeration. I'm coaching the little kids in football. Ball goes in the bushes. Kid goes, Coach, there's a guy sleeping here. I go over there, and I literally told him, kick him in the head.
Great advice.
I said, he ain't sleeping. Now, granted, I'm like 17 years old myself.
Yeah.
I says, you didn't see nothing. Go back to practice. Remember the TV show NYPD Blue?
Yeah.
In the 90s?
Sure, yeah.
Well, I was told when I was married to your sister, we were watching it, and I used to tell her about Doopy's Field. She didn't believe me. On NYPD Blue, the guy Sipowicz looks at Jimmy Smith and goes, we got to go to Whitestone, Queens. There's a body at Doopy's Field. She almost fell off her chair. She went, isn't that the park you told me about? I says, yeah, it is.
Yeah. That's funny. So there's a lot of that like you said, there's like a crossover almost, because what happens winds up in TV. It feels like, right?
Pretty much.
Like the known things, right? Didn't you tell me there was more? Like we talked a minute ago about, Traficantes. You said.
Yeah,
So they had what other kind of stuff do you know? Because you told me once you found they were doing some other stuff here in some other like northern Pasco area.
Like I said, they all had their hands in different types of businesses.
Yeah.
If it wasn't maybe a fish market,
Yeah.
and I'm pulling this from left field.
Sure.
Transportation, whatever the case may be. Anything where you can wash money.
Got
That's
it.
why the government came up, which I think is totally illegal myself, the RICO Act. Because the RICO Act states that they are going to target organized crime. Now you got to ask yourself, what is organized crime? It's not just Italians, it's not just Russians, it's not just Irish, it's just not Polish. It's crime. So when you say you're going after organized crime, think about it. Any kind of crime is not organized because it always collapses.
Yeah, it's true. So this is one thing I always noticed when, honestly, and because I just watched it, I guess, with Donnie Brasco, is the very first scene in the movie, they're arguing about the kind of cars they're driving, right? Mm-hmm. So I know you grew up in kind of the east side of New York, right? Whitestone's up there on the kind of
right next to Brooklyn,
right up in there. The guys that were in your neighborhood, the guys you knew, was the kind of car they had, was that like more of like a status symbol for them?
Yeah. Listen, if you were Italian and you were growing up in the late 70s and the 80s, you had an IROC.
Oh, my God.
It was either black with red interior or red with black interior. I mean, it was.
That's it.
And you always knew it because they were playing. The freestyle music, and then you had the cousins driving down there, leaning back all the way, and it was kind of funny.
There's one of those words again. What did you say? Cousins?
Cousins.
Koozies. Gotcha.
The cousins. These were the Italian guys, right? That their hair was always slicked back. They had the more expensive clothes, the more expensive cologne, the Capezio's shoes with the leather shoes from Italy, and they all hung out. They had the guinea teas on in the summertime. It's like you looked at them and you just knew. You were just like, you see me? Someone may say, all right, he's Italian. You see the cousins, look, the cousins are hanging out in the corner.
And were they entrepreneurs, is what I think you called them last week?
Yeah, some of them were.
Some of them were entrepreneuring.
Yeah.
Certain kinds of things.
Absolutely.
And most of them drove IROCs.
IROCs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Not the country, by the way. If you're any younger than, maybe 40 something, there was a car made by Pontiac, right?
Yeah.
Was it Pontiac?
Yeah,
it was a Pontiac. It was like a Firebird, but not.
Yeah. I had a couple of friends that had Trans Ams, like the 70s.
Same thing.
They had that. My neighborhood, it's funny. There was a movie, which I wasn't a big fan of, called Cruise. Mm-hmm. Cruise is about a movie about the cars that used to race on Franny Lou Boulevard in Whitestone. It's about my neighborhood. So when I watch the movie, I'm like, I was there. I hung out there. I knew here. I knew there. I knew there. And like I said, I didn't care for the movie because to me it wasn't realistic.
How so?
The opening scene, there's a guy underneath the Whitestone Bridge in his car in the back seat with a girl. Use your imagination on what's going on.
Yeah, they're playing chess.
Right? So I'm looking at this and I'm laughing. So I call my buddy up. I says, I don't know about you, but where were these girls when we lived in Whitestone? I said, because we hung underneath that bridge for years, and we're lucky if we held hands with somebody.
Well, I mean, maybe it's more about, you. Could be a you thing.
All my friends.
Oh, well, I mean, I know some of your friends, Could be a you problem, them problem. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
So last week we talked a little bit, by the way, thanks for all the views. We absolutely slayed it for almost 40,000 views on you just talking about your daughter getting married, and I didn't anticipate that clip doing anything, honestly. I'm like, this is probably the best part of the show. Let me throw it up there. And just an incredible response to it, and it's continuing to grow. And again, we appreciate all the support so far. I wanted to dive a little bit. So I have a, let's see, parenting's difficult, right?
Oh yeah.
So I have 3 kids, and we have an old. Listen, we talked a little bit about it, but my oldest son's 17. And it's not like it was when I was 17, you couldn't keep me in the house, right?
Sure.
I was out. I had a car. I had a job. These kids don't have cars. None of his friends. One of his friends has got a job, but like it's so different now in the last 20 some odd years from then to even when I think you were raising Gianna, because she was, I think, constantly working as well too. But I got to tell you, it's really tough to raise kids. We have also a 12-year-old who for this week decided he wanted to be a complete jerk face the majority of the week. So we've been struggling a bit with that. Tell me how, because about that 12-year-old time, for you and your family and Gianna must have been super tough. I was wondering kind of what are some of the maybe top 5 tips you can give to parents, to guys out there, to dads that are trying to get through that time?
First things first. You have to have boundaries with your child. You love them, you guide them, but by no means do you let them look at you as you're one of their friends.
Solid.
That's number 1. Number 2, they need to understand if you do something wrong, there are going to be consequences. However, when you do things right, there are going to be rewards, high rewards. Doing well in school, doing whatever chores around the house, whatever the case may be for your household. And you need to stick with it because this is what's going to build some of their character and their integrity. Perfect example. Gianna was working when she was a little bit older at Kohl's. A friend of mine was desperate and needed a babysitter, and she used to babysit with him on the side. He says, Gianna, call off sick at Kohl's. I'll pay you double. That's how desperate he was. She looked at me. She goes, what do I do? I says, tell me, what do we do? Do we take the money or do we let down the team at Kohl's so they're shorthanded now? She called the person up, did not babysit. She went to work at Kohl's. So we're enforcing those lessons over and over and over again. And look at her now. Charge nurse, going to school to be a nurse practitioner. So that was what? That was 3, right?
Yep.
4, again, more accountability. More accountability, letting her know to be an individual. Don't follow your friends. Let your friends follow you. You be the example. By doing that, I know it happens. I'm not looking down on anybody, but I would say 25% of the girls that Gianna knows, they were all pregnant before they were married. My daughter, nothing. Accountability.
Right.
Number 1 thing, respect yourself. If you don't respect yourself, how are other people going to respect you? Command that respect. Don't take no crap from nobody under any circumstances. Those would be the top 5.
And that's great advice, because that's something that we try to instill in our kids too. You know, there's that, especially that don't, try not to take any crap from anybody, because there's so many people out there that are looking to drag you down. Just even like what we're doing here with the show. There's thankfully we haven't got too many negative comments yet, and some praise. But there's going to be eventually people trying to drag us down, especially for that hideous outfit you have on. I mean, I love that it's red, white, and blue, but I mean, it's a little thin. You can almost see your belly button. But
thanks for noticing.
Yeah. But yeah, there's always going to be somebody trying to drag you down, and you are. I was telling one of the kids, because we say it so often the other day, you are who you surround yourself with, and I think that's very true. I have some friends that are still been my friends for a very long time, and we've been on every kind of journey you can imagine. And I know you've got friends. You got surprised by one last night.
Yeah,
Tony Tone, shout out Tony Tone, came to visit out of the blue. So it's important to keep that circle of friends, which is what we try to tell the kids, because that's probably outside of being a parent yourself. That's got to be the top contributing factor, wouldn't you think? The kind of people you surround yourself with.
Yeah. Again, it's just a different world. It's not like. Have you noticed, like on TikTok, they're like, come back to the 80s. You see it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. There's a perfect example showing like what the kids are doing today versus what or I should say I did back in the 80s. And again, you surrounded yourself by neighborhood kids. Everything's in neighborhood. You didn't have friends outside the neighborhood, period. You didn't go to theirs, they didn't come to yours.
Well, don't you think that's kind of maybe... It's definitely not like that now, but don't you think that the way the kids have it set up now, they have a lot more diversity in the kinds of friends they have? Do you think it's a good thing?
I don't think it's good. I don't think it's bad, to be honest with you. I mean, things change, and I understand that.
Yeah.
But me growing up having, say, 12 friends versus 25 friends of everything probably kept me out of a lot of trouble. Because the more people you're around, you don't know how they were raised.
Right.
It doesn't matter what nationality,
the
black, white, green, purple, that's irrelevant. But I'm with the same 12 guys every single day for years.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong.
Right. Yeah, I think that's internet gaming. And you know what, to go back to what you said a minute ago, though, I think that there's this romanticized... I think it's Gen Z that's out right now. I don't know. Is that right? Maybe. The young kids, the 17, 18, 19-year-old kids.
I don't know what they call them.
Whatever they call them. There's a lot of that nostalgia. Look at the stuff they're wearing. They're wearing, like, I'm a, late 90s, early 2000s guy. But a lot of the stuff that I was out this morning to get coffee and ice for the morning, and I'm like, I took a second look at this young kid walking by, and he had a shirt on that I would have worn, in 1999 with giant, they were Jenkos when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. But you remember those enormous jeans, and I'm like, I was like, did we just get in the, time travel, go backwards, 25 years? Because, I think that not only are they romanticizing about that time when things were a little simpler, I think they're also trying to imitate some of that. I think there's kind of a small push that I can see for this 17, 18, 19, maybe even a little younger than that, to not be as connected. They're still going on TikTok and they're still doing these things, but it doesn't seem to be the main thing that's ruling their life. And then there's two things. One, I saw since we started the show, I've been doing research and kind of want to try to understand where you grew up more, right? So I know, but I don't know because we've never been there and whatever it is. So TikTok is becoming wildly, valuable because there's videos on there of like your literal neighborhood from people that had camcorders at the time walking around. They would walk from Whitestone to Brooklyn, and then you would see them getting on the trains, and then you would see the big difference between where you were and just going into Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I mean, a significant difference in the people that you saw and the cars that you saw and what was going on the corners and on the streets and, just way, way different. And now they're doing the same thing. Like I saw a video from kids it was a class of 2003. Somebody hit, which if I dug far enough back into my tape somewhere, I know I have videos of stuff like that too. And I should probably have Mark convert them and see how that goes.
Oh, yeah,
that would be awesome, right? But it was one thing you notice, and it's the same. This is the same thing. Nobody has anything in their hands. There's no devices. You might have a paper in your hands. You might have, especially in the schools, you had your backpacks and you had people are playing with, pen caps and they're interacting. in a genuine way where they're looking at you right in the eyeballs and you're making these connections. And like you said, in the videos, you see the same groups. You know, you might be a video of somebody in an English class, and then next thing you know, they're in a science, but it's the same 4 or 5 kids all doing the same things all the same time. And that doesn't even happen in school anymore. You know, they go to these different classes and the kids switch. There's no, you know, your friends don't go to your same class anymore. Mm-hmm. Leo goes to school. I ask him, hey, did you see any friends today? Yeah, I saw one friend for half a period. Well, what do you mean? Oh, no, they split us all up. I'm like, what? Why would they do that? But anyway, and then you look at your videos from the 70s and the 80s, and it's those, what'd you call them a minute ago? The guys with the guinea tees on, what are they called?
Oh, the cousins.
Yeah, the koozies. You can see them. I didn't know what they were called. Shout out to koozies. Maybe we should have a koozie.
Cousin.
No, we'll have a koozie with the word
cousin on it.
We'll have our buddy Matt make them over to United Warrior. Shout out Matt, made this shirt for me. Look for Potholes and Street Corners merch coming soon. In fact, you can order this shirt right now on TikTok. If you want to pre-order it, let me know. You can get it in any color you want. Shout out to Matt again at United Warrior. Yeah, maybe he can make us some koozies, and it has the word cuisine on it, and it can have like a little tank top or something. I don't know, just spitballing there. But you see them riding around in their, I want to say Eldorado. It's probably not the right thing, but it was like one of those kind of cars. Maybe it was a Cadillac with the red, you know, like cloth, you know, interior. Mm-hmm. And it's there. I mean, it looked like there was 12 people in one car at one point, because they're all, you know, yep. They would all circle around the car, and I don't know what they're doing, but they all look probably all cousins, number one, because they all look alike.
And they're all named Tony.
Anthony or Tony, I'm for sure. Yeah,
one Vinny.
Yeah, one Vinny, and they're going into the, you know, bodega or wherever they're getting their sandwiches and stuff at. I mean, to me, that seems like that might have been a fun life to live, you know, because it seemed like you always, at least you had somebody to go and do something with, you know? Like we had motorcycles when I was in high school. I rode motorcycles. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I remember.
Until it wasn't fun. It was fun while it lasted. And we had a great group of friends we rode with, but it was not fun when you nearly die. So yeah, go ahead.
I remember my next door neighbor, Artie. And he had a 1973 brown Dodge Charger. This car was souped up. And it's funny because Artie was like a straight A student, went to Polytech University for aerospace engineering. So he's not the guy you expected in that car.
Yeah, smart dude.
So in the summertime, when we would work at the catering place at night on the weekends, but 8 o'clock in the morning, I mean, I got home at 7, 8 o'clock, you hear beep, beep, and we'd be off to Jones Beach. And his car would be packed. And there would be other people we would meet. We did everything together. We truly did. We did everything together. You talked about, like, the kids not working, right?
Yeah.
Guess what my first job was when I was 10 years old?
A circus clown.
No. Around the corner from my house, there was a pharmacy. Doc. I'd walk in there and go, Doc, you got any prescriptions? And he would give me the prescriptions, and I would deliver them in the neighborhood. God only knows what was in there.
Running a business is hard enough without IT headaches slowing you down. That's where Computer Quest comes in. They make technology simple. Whether you need cybersecurity, cloud solutions, digital marketing, or on-site support, their teams got you covered. One thing I love about working with Computer Quest is their clear and transparent pricing. No hidden fees, no surprises, just straightforward IT solutions that fit your budget. Plus, they can source hardware from all the brands you know and trust at a competitive price, so you're always getting the best deal. Take the stress out of IT. Visit cqbits.com. That's cqbits.com. And see how Computer Quest can keep your business running smoothly.
All right. Well, we're back. Technical difficulties. We had a camera die on us, but no big deal. We'll keep on going there. So what I was saying, what you were saying about working at the drugstore. So you go, you deliver the drugs, you get a little bit of a tip, maybe shovel some snow or something when you were done too in the winter.
Yeah. I asked them if I could come back. They would be like, "Sure, how much?" I'm like, $5.
Yeah.
So $5.
So 10 years old, you got a little empire going on.
Yeah, we did, and you know it was good too. My the guy I mentioned before, Artie. A lot lots of times when we'd go shovel snow, all my friends would go out like 12 at a time. Me and Artie would go by ourselves. We were out less time and made more money because they had to split it amongst 12 people.
Right.
So they would be
Probably
coming
half
home.
the time they'd be fighting too.
They would be coming home, and we would be looking at my grandmother's house right at the main window, drinking hot chocolate, waving at them.
It's funny. So you're like, you little suckers, right? That's
Sucker.
great. Well, it's funny too because you're talking about the drugstore and you being in the neighborhood, walking down there and saying you got anything for me. But here in Florida, which is where we're on the Gulf Coast over here, Gulf of America Coast, we don't have corner stores. It's Publix or nothing. It's been like that forever. We've never had this, corner store mentality. I think there's some master plan communities here that they've built in the last probably 10 years that have that. And certainly if you're here in downtown, you get a little bit of that too. But I think it's kind of almost like a uniquely Florida thing too. They don't believe in the corner store here, it feels like.
No, they don't. It's a different way of living.
Yeah.
It's just a different way. And you got to remember, too, they were building Florida up. So a lot of people had to drive, like you said.
Oh, yeah.
So you got to drive 25 minutes. Publix was like, we'll have everything here.
Yeah.
And then Eckerd Drugs, he was a genius. Wherever there was a Publix,
There was an Eckerd. Oh, yeah.
right next door.
100%.
Killed two birds with one stone.
Yeah, no, I remember even, in the 2000s when I worked at Eckerd, which shout out to the photo department at Eckerd, that was a weird job. Which I think you got me the job there, didn't you?
Yeah, because I was the manager for them.
Right. Yeah, and I worked in one of the newer locations that they went through this era where they were going to get out of strip plazas and they were going to build their own buildings and stuff like that, which did not turn out good for them.
No.
Spoiler alert. But Eckerd was like, I'm sure there's Walgreens. Everybody's got a Walgreens or CVS anywhere now, but Eckerd was kind of the first ones to say, we're going to build our own little market, mini store. And they had everything in there.
Oh, yeah.
Everything.
Too much.
Yeah, too much. I might be remembering this wrong, but the Eckerd that was in our community where we lived was over by, was there a, God, what store was that was in there as well?
There was one on 19
It's now
by
a Barnes
52.
and Noble. Not a Barnes and Noble. Now it's another bookstore. Like on 19, there used to be a Walmart in that strip plaza too, right? Am I wrong?
I don't remember that. I remember on 52 and 19.
Yeah.
In that plaza on
Yeah.
the left, there was an Eckerd in there.
I remember Eckerd, probably because you worked there. I think we would go and drop stuff or whatever with my father. But I remember Eckerd having a music department. Am I remembering that wrong? Like where you could buy CDs? No?
No.
It must have been a store next door or something like that. Then I don't know. But yeah, Eckerd was like the closest thing you had to like a corner store because
That was the Rite Aid across the street that I used to manage.
Oh, okay. There
They
you
had
go.
like a record store next door.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, there was something buried in that brain of mine. Which Rite Aid still exists. Eckerd does not.
No, I don't know if there's any Rite Aids left because when I worked for Rite Aid, the CEO wound up doing about 10 years.
Oof.
Because he lied about the stock. They
Oof.
manipulated the stock.
Yeah.
And all the guys that I knew that when I would go up to Pennsylvania for the trade show,
Yeah.
they all got busted. They all flipped
Oh my God.
to save their own. They were all rats. They all flipped. The one guy took the beating.
Yeah.
And he just got out like about a year ago.
It's like a full circle moment for you though, delivering the pills or whatever for Doc, and then boom, you're 20 something years old running a couple of Rite Aids, and then and then Eckerd's, and then that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But yeah, Publix has definitely got the market here in this part of Florida. I mean, all of Florida basically. There's a Publix. When they build them less than 5 minutes from each other, I go, "What are you doing?" And then they must know when the houses are coming because they're right on. They're spot on with where the new development is happening. There's going to be a Publix, 100%.
Yeah, they got a guy who does the demographics.
Yeah.
He sees what's coming.
Yeah.
And they just jump on it.
I've heard, a very incredible place to work.
Yes, I have a friend of mine, actually, Wes. He retired, let's say, 5 years ago, and I think he was with them over 30 years.
That's crazy. That's crazy. And it's hard. It's one of those things that we were talking earlier about kids not working. It's probably the top. Every teenager that I know wants to work at Publix, it feels like, because you can get in when you're like 15 and work.
Yeah.
And you could be, hypothetically, if you stay there, by the time you're like early 40s, you could be retiring from Publix.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is nuts, because they have a great, employee program and stuff there too. So, I want to talk a little bit about, I think, kind of your grandparents when they, and this is kind of, we're getting pretty close to where we're going to be wrapping up here soon. Your grandparents when they came here, do you have like the record of when that happened, how it happened?
Gianna does.
Okay.
She just recently started doing the research on that.
Yeah.
And she knows the boat they came off on.
Okay.
Their ID numbers, and actually has seen the card that they had to fill out
Oh, that's incredible.
at Ellis Island. So they came here and then landed in Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, they became American citizens. They learned how to speak English. My grandfather worked a job as an iceman.
Okay.
Carrying those blocks of ices up the stairs for
Yeah.
the refrigerator. And he was also a boxer. He fought 11 fights and won all 11 by knockout.
What year was this?
It was like the 30s.
Okay. Yeah. It's funny because people coming through Ellis Island at that time, I don't think people really realize this, is when you came in on a boat, typically, there was a screening process.
Oh, yes.
You didn't just get to, I'm here, come on in, and like you said, being people don't know him yet, but what you're going to get to know is a couple of things. Jimmy's very opinionated, and there are, certain things he's going to say that are not going to, you may not agree with, but that's what makes America great. And, even setting local politics aside, it's important that you try not to mess up my state, please. What were you going to say about?
Well, there's a ton of people moving down here.
Yeah.
And with all the people coming down here, most of them are coming from up north or the northeast. So as they're coming down from the northeast, DeSantis needs to put a sign in the beginning of the state that says, try North Carolina. If you're going to come here, do not try to change the success that we've had. My father used to tell me.
United Warrior. At first, it sounds so simple, but it's much more. Here in the USA, we are meant to be united. But who is a warrior? Of course, our military, police, firefighters, first responders, doctors, and nurses. They are warriors, and we honor them. But being a warrior goes beyond the uniform. It's the cancer survivor who refuses to give up, the child battling autism with courage every single day, the mother living with MS, the veteran facing PTSD, the father recovering from a traumatic brain injury. They are all warriors too. Every morning they rise, they fight, and they defy the odds. United Warrior is about recognizing all of them, the heroes seen and unseen, because together we are stronger, together we are warriors. Learn more and show your support at UnitedWarriorApparel.com. That's UnitedWarriorApparel.com, and tell them Potholes and Street Corners sent you.
So let's try this one more time. Sorry, everybody out there, but Jimmy was just saying that if you're going to move here, please vote accordingly, basically.
Yeah, basically. If you're going to come down here, we're a red state. We've had success.
Yeah. Let's not mess it up.
If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. So your parents came here, or your grandparents, I should say, came here in the 30s, and they worked hard. And when they came in, there was a screening process for most people. If you don't know, pick up a book. It's not very, I say pick up a book. Ask Gemini or ChatGPT. They'll tell you about the process that it took to get in here. You had to have some serviceable skill to come in, to work in the country, to live in the country. And you couldn't be bringing, disease and all kinds of stuff in with you, right?
Right. But here's the point I like to make, and it's very true. The Italians, the Irish, all the immigrants at that time.
Yeah.
America opened up the door to us because they needed us. They needed our skill.
Sure.
They needed those bricklayers. They needed us to dig those tunnels for their subways. For example, I know you've heard the derogatory term for an Italian, the word guinea. You've heard that, right?
No, I've never heard that before. I don't know.
Really?
Never heard of it.
Yeah, you have. Okay. Do you know where that comes from?
No.
Because when we were digging those tunnels, there was a lot of gas down there, a lot of gas lines. And
There's a lot of gas in here right now, too. Go ahead.
a lot of Italians died digging those tunnels. And that's when they called them guinea pigs, because we were the ones who had a set to go out and do it. Now, we came here, we learned English, our families. They were hardworking, they had businesses, and some of them, they wanted a piece of the action. And that's why some of them grabbed part of it. But America opened it up because they needed us. Not like now, where we don't want nobody here, and they were trying to flood in. Big difference.
Well, yeah, I think there's something to be said about that era of immigration. I don't want to get overly political because it doesn't do anybody any good, because you're never going to change the minds of people. But, if you want to come here, do it legally. It's not that difficult. I mean, I guess probably it is. I say that as not knowing at all, but I would imagine that you can get here if you need to be. You know what I'm saying?
It's about 10 grand at minimum.
Yeah. So,
I mean, but there is a process.
yeah.
You
be
know,
prepared.
and there are people that come here. There are people that become American citizens every day. And I say to them, welcome and God bless you.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
they have their traditions, and you keep your traditions in your home.
Well, and that's really what we're whenever this airs, which should be in a week or two. This is Labor Day Monday right now, and that's really what today is about. It's about the people that came in before us, that came in to do the things like digging the ditches and the holes, and even in today's standards, the guys that are out there hard hatting it and working hard. This is a day to celebrate the labor in America that makes us great. It's one of the only things about our country that is America built from almost nothing, over the last 200 plus years. So it's incredible what we've done as a nation, and it's great to celebrate those people who help us get there,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we're getting pretty close to the end here, as I can imagine. The story that you told about Gianna last week went over again very well, played well with people. I think you might have had a few guys crying in their cars, on the way to work in the morning. What was her reaction to that? Has she seen it?
I've asked her, but I can't get an answer from her. It's like, Ming, come on.
Oh, the freaking word again.
What word?
Ming.
It's just an expression. I'm going to see her today.
Yeah, I'd love to know what her reaction to that was.
Well, I could tell you the reaction she had.
Whoa.
Excuse me. The reaction of that day.
Yeah.
And it was just beautiful.
Yeah, that was a great wedding. That was a good time. That was a real good time. Beautiful place. To be in the museum like that, it was amazing.
Bartenders were fantastic.
It was great. Good time, yeah. And that's back to that, what we talked about on that show, too, was that sense of community. It was nice to be around, some of these people I've known since I was a little kid, too, that were there. So, and just to have a weekend of, family and friends. And I hope that these young people today get to go out and experience that in some way, somehow. Do you think that your grandparents, when they came here, which is probably right around the time that my grandparent, roughly around the same time.
Absolutely.
Do you think that they ever thought that in a couple of generations, that's where we'd be at?
I think some of them did.
Yeah.
Let's face it, there have been great people that have been visionaries.
Sure.
My grandfather had several different businesses.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you he became a millionaire, because he didn't, but he had a vision to want to do more. He was detailing cars before they were detailing cars.
Okay.
He had a soda route. He had a bread route. You name it, he was doing it. And he built a good life for himself. My grandmother stayed home, took care of the house, took care of him. They were married up until both of them passed away. So I think, yeah. That's why you come to America.
Yeah.
Because you want to better yourself, but you want to better the future.
Yeah. No, I think you're absolutely... at least those generations did. And it's funny because we talked I think it was on the other show, but I think we talked a little bit about how my grandfather coming here, or getting around the same time, or at least maybe his parents. I'm not sure. I think he was probably here with his parents when they came across, because he would have been, God, he was born in like 1918 or something like that. So. Being one of those New York bricklayers who was part of the union and all that, and we know for a fact that he built a lot, or was involved in a lot of the construction that went down in Manhattan, places like that, and you know that I bet a lot of people that are listening can trace the lineage back through Ellis Island and these people that came through, because especially here on the East Coast, that was the way in, you know, and the Irish were escaping, you know, Ireland because they were being persecuted there. Really very the same kind of story with the Italian people too. They wanted a land of opportunity, and that's what we had promised, especially, you know, kind of post World War One. You know,
Absolutely. Like I said, you know, and they all came over with their talents.
yeah,
You know, regardless if, like, your grandfather was a bricklayer, my grandfather an iceman, the other guy had a vegetable stand.
I don't even know what my grandfather's father did. I have no idea. I don't know. There's probably not even photos of them, you know?
Yeah, if there are, I've never seen
doubt
them.
it. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
Up in your attic, maybe.
No, nothing. Probably not. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, good show. You know, we got a Labor Day here, so we're going to knock off for the rest of the day. Again, shout out to everybody who found us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, every place this week. We're going to continue to grow, and hopefully once we get on the air here in the next week or so, more and more people will continue to find us. One thing that Jimmy and I want to do here with the show is, obviously we want to entertain you, but we want it to be a place where you can come and find, you know, maybe a little bit of knowledge, or, you know, get some experience, especially with the Gooch here, you know, with his life experience raising a successful daughter, with me, you know, kind of in the middle of it all. So for me, I want to say thank you guys very much, and I want you to have a great weekend. Jimmy, what do you got?
Yeah, look, we appreciate you guys. Keep coming back, and always remember, potholes and street corners, we're here every week.
Thanks.
United Warrior. At first, it sounds so simple, but it's much more. Here in the USA, we are meant to be united. But who is a warrior? Of course, our military, police, firefighters, first responders, doctors, and nurses. They are warriors, and we honor them. But being a warrior goes beyond the uniform. It's the cancer survivor who refuses to give up, the child battling autism with courage every single day, the mother living with MS, the veteran facing PTSD, the father recovering from a traumatic brain injury. They are all warriors too. Every morning they rise, they fight, and they defy the odds. United Warrior is about recognizing all of them, the heroes seen and unseen, because together we are stronger, together we are warriors. Learn more and show your support at UnitedWarriorApparel.com. That's UnitedWarriorApparel.com. And tell them Potholes and Street Corners sent you.